later, he awoke to urgent cries in the cabin, which was filled with smoke and the orange and red flicker of flames. The guy seated across from him had a piece of iron sticking out of the middle of his forehead, lines of blood running down his face. Blank eyes stared at nothing. Cursing, his head throbbing, Reese popped his seatbelt and tried to get up, but his body refused to cooperate. His vision blurred, his mind went blank, and again, darkness descended. Something stirred in his consciousness. When Reese opened his eyes, monitors beeped next to his bedside, and he realized he was lying in a hospital room. He had no idea how much time had passed since the crash, but by the end of the day he knew the pilot and one of the Poseidon crewmen had died. He remembered the man's blank stare and thought how it could have been him. What had happened? No one seemed to know. Reese wanted answers. The National Transportation Safety Board would be in charge of the investigation. He would leave it to them, he thought, for now. Reese closed his eyes and let the pain meds suck him under. 2. 4 weeks later, Dallas, Texas. For Mackenzie Haynes, her day as executive assistant to Reese Garrett started as usual. After a few minutes spent with her own assistant, Louise Dennison, an older woman with short iron-gray hair, Kenzie began her early morning briefing with Reese to go over his daily schedule and discuss what he needed from her. Seated across the desk from the CEO of Garrett Resources in his spacious office, she waited as he finished an unexpected phone call. With his wavy jet-black hair and amazing blue eyes, Reese was one of the best-looking men Kenzie had ever seen. Keenly intelligent and highly successful, he was a combination of virile masculinity and brooding reserve that attracted women of every age, shape, and size. She could still see the faint scar on the side of his head near his temple from the helicopter crash that had killed 2 men and put Reese in the hospital. At the time of the accident, Kenzie had worked for the company only 5 months, but in that time she had come to admire and respect her employer. She could still recall the sharp stab of fear when his brother Chase had phoned to inform her of the accident. 3 days later, Reese was back at his desk running the company with the iron control he was known for. Unfortunately, even now, 4 weeks after the incident, NTSB investigators remained unable to pinpoint the cause of the crash. Reese's phone call ended and his dark head came up, his intense blue eyes locking on her face. No matter how she worked to ignore it, Kenzie always felt the impact. "Where were we?" he asked. "You wanted me to reschedule your visit to the offshore platform." "Yes. I've put it off too long already." "I probably shouldn't say this, but after what happened, I don't blame you." The corner of his mouth kicked up. "Maybe not, but I want this deal done. We've been working on it for months. We need to finish our due diligence and make it end." "Yes, sir. Would you like me to go with you?" Traveling with Reese when he needed her assistance was part of her job, though he hadn't asked her to go with him the day of the crash, thank God. One of his rare smiles appeared. "You want to hold my hand in case I get scared in the chopper?" Kenzie laughed, a little embarrassed he had hit so close to the truth. She liked him, admired him. He could have died that day. "I just thought you might need me." Reese shook his head. "Not this time. I won't be discussing business while I'm out there. I just want to get a feel for the way things operate out on the rig." She nodded, not surprised, since he had said something similar before. "I'll make the arrangements." As she looked down at his calendar on her iPad, thinking of what she would need to rearrange, a soft knock sounded at the door. The knob turned, and Louise stood in the opening. "I'm sorry to interrupt, sir, but the police are on the phone. They're looking for Kenzie. Apparently, it's some kind of an emergency." Kenzie shot up from the chair in front of Reese's polished dark walnut desk. "Put the call through on my line, Louise," Reese said before she had taken a step. "She can talk to them in here."